All right, so picture this. Your favorite team, I mean the team with all the history, the tradition, and they're teetering on the edge. Like one bad move and they're gone.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that happen. Happens way too often in the sports world.
It does, it does. But what if instead of just fading away, they come back stronger than ever, defy all the odds, and reclaim their former glory?
Now, that's the kind of story I like to hear. A real underdog story.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to be diving into today, the incredible turnaround of the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Now, that's a name that brings back some memories. A legendary Aussie rugby league team, right?
You got it. And they've got some of the most dedicated fans you'll ever meet.
So how'd they go from practically falling apart to winning a championship in less than 10 years? That's what I'm here to find out.
Well, lucky for us, you sent in this article in your deep dive request. It really unpacks how the Rabbitohs have pulled it off. So get ready, because we're about to uncover one of the most impressive comebacks in sports history.
Oh, this is going to be good. I can already tell. Leadership, strategy, a little bit of luck. Who knows what else we'll find?
Right. It's all in there.
Yeah.
So let's rewind back to the early 2000s. The Rabbitohs had just fought their way back into the NRL, Australia's top rugby league competition.
Didn't they get kicked out a few years before that?
Yeah, talk about starting from rock bottom.
No kidding.
But, even making it back into the league didn't magically fix all their problems. According to the article, there were still some major issues they had to overcome.
Yeah, like what kind of issues? Give me the rundown.
Well, for starters, they were one of the poorest teams in the entire NRL, barely surviving without a major sponsor.
Oof, that's tough. Makes it hard to do, well, anything.
Exactly. And that had a huge impact on their performance on the field, of course.
I was just about to say that. No money, no talent, no wins. It's that simple.
Sadly, it is. And to make things even worse, their historic home ground, Redfern Oval, was falling apart. Desperately needed renovations.
Okay, so they're broke, they're not winning, and their home field is a dump. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. There's more. Despite their incredible history and die-hard fan base, they were struggling to stay relevant.
Yeah, in the modern game, you gotta keep up.
No kidding. The world of rugby league had changed, gotten super competitive, and, well, the Rabbitohs were getting left behind.
So how on earth did they manage to turn all that around? Where do you even start with all those problems?
That's what I'm wondering. It really looked grim. Most people thought they were done for. But then, in a plot twist, that seems straight out of a Hollywood movie.
Hold on, are you telling me there's a Hollywood connection here?
Oh, there is. Two unlikely saviors stepped in. Russell Crowe.
Wait, as in Gladiator Russell Crowe? Seriously?
Yep, the one and only. And Peter Holmes, a big-time Australian businessman.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What was a Hollywood A-lister doing getting involved with a struggling rugby team on the other side of the world?
Well, it turns out both Crowe and Holmes were lifelong Rabbitohs fans.
Ah, that makes a lot more sense.
They understood just how important the team was to the community. They couldn't just stand by and watch it crumble. So they came up with a pretty bold plan, I gotta say. They wanted to privatize the club.
Privatize? So basically take control and run it like a business.
Yeah, exactly. Get a controlling stake, That would give them the power to make big changes, the changes they thought were necessary to save the team.
Wow, that's a big gamble. But I guess when you're passionate about something, you're willing to go all in, huh? So what were they aiming for with this takeover? Did they have like a specific vision for the Rabbitohs?
Oh yeah, they definitely had a vision. They wanted to transform the Rabbitohs into a modern, financially stable, and most importantly, a competitive powerhouse.
Sounds like a pretty ambitious goal considering where they were starting from. But I guess that's what makes it so interesting, right? So how'd they pull it off? Did the fans just hand over their beloved team?
Well, not exactly. It all came down to a vote by the Rabbitohs members. Imagine the tension. They had to decide whether to give up control of their club to these, well, outsiders.
Whoa, that must have been a tough decision. So what happened? Did they trust these guys with the future of the Rabbitohs?
They did. In March 2006, a whopping 75.8% of the members voted yes to the privatization.
Wow, that's a huge majority. Talk about a vote of confidence.
It really was. It was a turning point in the Rabbitohs' history, no doubt. So now the stage is set. Crowe and Holmes are in charge, and they've got a mountain of challenges ahead of them.
So where did they start? What were their first steps in this massive turnaround?
Well, one of their top priorities was tackling the financial mess. They knew they needed money, and lots of it.
Yeah, money makes the world go round, especially in professional sports.
Exactly, and that's where the whole privatization thing really came in handy.
How so?
By making the club a private entity, they could attract outside investments and be a lot more flexible with their money.
Smart move. So is that how they managed to snag those big sponsors like DeLonghi and Fujitsu? I mean, those are some pretty high-profile names to be partnering with a struggling rugby team.
It was a brilliant strategy, for sure. Bringing in those sponsors, it brought in much-needed cash, obviously, but it also gave the club a sense of legitimacy again.
Yeah, like they were saying, hey, we're serious contenders now. Watch out.
Exactly. But those big-name sponsors were just the beginning. They also had to get rid of all that debt the club had racked up, remember?
Oh, right. That was a big one. So how did they deal with that? Did they just pay it off with the sponsor money?
That and more. They completely overhauled the entire business structure of the club, streamlined everything, focused on creating a sustainable financial model for the future.
So they weren't just putting out fires, they were building a solid foundation for the club to thrive in the long run.
Exactly. And with Holmes Court's business background, they were able to make smart, strategic decisions. They wiped out that crippling debt that had been holding them back for years.
That's got to be a huge relief, right? To finally be free of that burden. It's like a fresh start.
It was. A fresh start is exactly what they needed.
And then there was Redfern Oval. They knew that dump wasn't going to attract any top talent.
Yeah, players want a place that feels professional,
Hey.
a place they can be proud to call home.
Right. So Crowe and Holmes Court decided to invest some serious cash, like a lot of cash.
How much are we talking here?
Around $19.6 million. They basically rebuilt the whole thing.
Wow, that's a huge investment. What do they do with all that money?
Turned it into a state-of-the-art training center. Everything a professional athlete could possibly need. They had the best equipment, top-notch medical facilities, even special areas for recovery and rehab.
So it wasn't just about making it look pretty. It was about giving those players the resources they needed to perform at their best.
Exactly. It showed the players that the club was serious about investing in their success.
Did it work? I mean, did all that investment actually attract better players?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't want to train in a facility like that? It sent a message to the entire league. The Rabbitohs are back, and they're here to stay.
It's like you said earlier, money talks.
Yeah.
And actions speak even louder.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so they've got the money sorted out, the facilities are top-notch, but they're still not winning games consistently. What was the missing piece of the puzzle?
Well, talent, of course. You can have all the money and the best facilities in the world, but if you don't have the players, you're not going to win. And that's where Crowe and Holmes Court really showed their strategic genius.
I'm all ears. Tell me about their recruitment strategy.
They went after the best of the best. Didn't matter where they came from. If they were talented and could help the Rabbitohs win, they were interested.
So who are some of the big names they brought in?
Well, the biggest one, and I'm sure even you've heard of him, was Greg Inglis.
Oh, yeah, Greg Inglis. Now, that's a name even I recognize. He was considered one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a game changer, no doubt about it. And they didn't stop there. They also brought in Sam Burgess, this incredibly tough English forward.
Sam Burgess, yeah, I think I've seen some highlights of him. He was pretty intense.
Intense is an understatement. He was a force to be reckoned with. Then there was Roy Asatasi, an absolute powerhouse of a prop from New Zealand.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. They were building a team of absolute beasts.
And to round it out, they brought in Michael Crocker, a veteran player who brought a ton of experience and leadership to the team.
Wow, talk about a dream team. What was the reaction from the fans when all these big names started signing with the Rabbitohs?
It was electric. Fans were going wild. Finally, they had a team they could believe in again, a team that could compete with the best. The energy around the club was totally different.
Yeah, winning cures all. Right? But you can't deny the impact of having those star players on the field. It must have boosted the team's confidence, too.
Oh, absolutely. When you've got guys like Greg Inglis and Sam Burgess on your side, you know you've got a fighting chance. It changed the whole mentality of the team.
And speaking of changing things up, we got to talk about the Russell Crowe effect. I mean,
Right.
You've got this Hollywood A-lister, an Oscar winner, showing up at rugby league games.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day.
What kind of impact did that have on the Rabbitohs, in terms of their image and global recognition?
It was huge. I mean, think about it. You've got Russell Crowe, this international superstar, promoting the Rabbitohs everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he was basically a walking billboard for the team, wasn't he?
Pretty much. He even started inviting other A-list celebrities to the games.
Wait, seriously? Like who?
Oh, just your average Hollywood A-listers. Tom Cruise, Snoop Dogg, Leonardo DiCaprio.
No way that actually happened.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. Suddenly, the South Sydney Rabbitohs were making headlines all over the world.
That's some serious star power. But I'm curious, how did the fans react to all this Hollywood glitz and glamour? Was there any pushback? Did anyone feel like it was taking away from the team's identity?
There were definitely some initial concerns, People worried that Crowe's celebrity would overshadow the team itself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Crowe was really smart about it. He made sure to keep the focus on the players, the history, the tradition. He wanted everyone to know that he was a fan first and foremost.
So he managed to find a balance, didn't he? Between the Hollywood glamour and the down-to-earth working-class roots of the club.
Yeah, he really did. And he used that balance to his advantage. He knew how to tell a good story.
Right, and that's what he did with the Rabbitohs. He created a narrative that was both exciting and authentic.
Yeah.
And that resonated with people.
Exactly. He tapped into something deeper, He reminded everyone why they loved the Rabbitohs in the first place.
That's powerful stuff. And it sounds like he took that same approach with the marketing campaigns you mentioned earlier. Can you tell me a bit more about those?
Sure. They were unlike anything anyone had seen in rugby league before. They had this documentary feel to them, focusing on the personal stories of the players, their struggles, their triumphs.
Sounds like they were trying to connect with the fans on a more emotional level.
Exactly. They wanted to show the human side of the game, the dedication, the sacrifices, the passion that drives these players.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah. People loved it. They could relate to those stories, connect with the players on a deeper level. It wasn't just about watching a game anymore. It was about being part of something bigger, something special.
So they got the money, the facilities, the talent, the brand, and the marketing. And they're starting to win games. Was it only a matter of time before they reached the ultimate prize?
Well, yeah. They were definitely on the right track. And all of those pieces finally came together in 2014 when the Rabbitohs won the NRL Grand Final.
Hold on, are you saying they actually won the whole thing?
Yeah.
After all those years of struggle?
They did. It was their first premiership title in 43 years.
Wow. I can only imagine what that moment must have been like for the fans, the players, for Crowe himself. All that hard work finally paying off.
It was pure magic. You could feel the emotion, the relief, the joy, just pouring out of everyone.
Talk about a storybook ending. But there's one more twist in this tale, isn't there? Something about Crowe stepping back from the club.
Yeah, it was pretty unexpected. In 2017, he decided to sell his stake back to the Rabbitohs members.
Wait, he walked away. Just like that. After everything he had done for the club. Why would he do that?
Well, think about it. By that point, the Rabbitohs were a completely different team. They were financially secure, they had a championship-winning squad, a world-class training facility.
Right, his mission was accomplished. He had saved the Rabbitohs.
Exactly, and he knew that the club was in good hands with the members.
So it was like a final act of love, in a way.
Yeah.
Returning the club to its rightful owners. The fans.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It really was a testament to his dedication and his love for the Rabbitohs.
This has been an incredible journey.
Yeah.
We've gone from financial ruin to championship glory, from a crumbling stadium to a state-of-the-art facility, from a fading brand to a global phenomenon. It's hard to believe it's all the same club.
It really is amazing, isn't it? And it all started with two guys who had a vision and the courage to make it a reality.
So what are some of the biggest lessons we can learn from this story? What can we take away from the Rabbitohs' remarkable turnaround?
Well, I think the biggest lesson is that no matter how bad things seem, no matter how many challenges you're facing, it's always possible to turn things around. It just takes the right people, the right leadership, and a whole lot of hard work.
It's like a real-life fairy tale, isn't it? The Rabbitohs story,
It is. It shows that anything is possible if you believe in something strongly enough and you're willing to fight for it.
Have you ever seen anything like that in your own life? Where someone or a group of people came together to save something they cared about?
That's funny you should ask. This whole story reminds me of this community center in my neighborhood. A few years back, it was struggling. Big time.
Oh, yeah, I hate seeing that happen, especially when it's a place that means so much to the community.
Right. Well, this place had been around forever. Generations of families had gone there. But they were having money troubles, people weren't signing up anymore, and the building itself was falling apart.
So what happened? Did they just let it close down?
Nope. A bunch of the residents got together, people who'd been going there since they were kids, and they decided to save it.
That's amazing. What did they do?
Everything. They organized fundraisers, got volunteers to help out, even managed to get some grants to fix up the building.
It's incredible what people can do when they work together towards a common goal.
It really is. And, it kind of echoes the Rabbitohs story, right? It's not always about having tons of money or famous people backing you.
It's about community, passion, and the will to make a difference.
Exactly. And that's what makes these stories so inspiring. They remind us that even when things look hopeless, we can turn them around.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. We've explored the incredible journey of the South Sydney Rabbitohs, a team that went from the brink of collapse to the top of the rugby league world.
It's a story about leadership, vision, and the power of community.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to think about the lessons we've learned from the Rabbitohs.
Maybe there's something you care about that needs a champion. Maybe it's time for you to step up and make a difference.
Remember, the Rabbitohs story is proof that anything is possible.
Thanks for joining us.
And until next time, keep believing in the power of comebacks.